45 blocks last year. Clark for three.
If there's one thing that old heads excel at after their retirement, it's their hot takes. After all, not a single one of them wants to fall into irrelevancy, and so every time that there's a new star on the scene, the old heads can't stop themselves from giving their opinion on them. Some prefer to go with the positive route, while others fall into negative critiquing. Well, today, we're going to cover something a bit different, because instead of checking out the opinions of basketball legends on a new NBA star, we're instead seeing what they had to say about the new sensation of the WNBA, the one and only Caitlin Clark. And man, get ready, because some of these legends gave her praise that they would never even give to their male counterparts. Who other to start with than the direct comparison of Caitlin Clark in the NBA, Steph Curry himself. Caitlin has shown time and time again that her range is nearly limitless, so obviously reporters had to ask the chef what he thought about her play style, and if what he saw was really similar to himself, and this is what he had to say to that on CBS Mornings.
The cool part is the way that she plays and her range and the level of difficulty on her shots is obviously a very close comparison to the way that I play.
Now, getting that kind of approval from the greatest shooter to ever play basketball just shows you how much of a threat she's going to be in the league. And the thing is that Steph didn't stop there. He humbly added,
but I think it almost robs her of like the rest of her game because she's such a good floor. It's must-see TV.
Now, getting compared to Steph Curry, that in and itself would have been a milestone of success. But for the chef himself to come out and say that this comparison only scratches the surface for her is some of the highest praise that one can get. What's more, when Caitlin beat the NCAA scoring record, Curry took this as another opportunity to acknowledge her achievements, as he said, "Caitlin is special. Her story, her journey, the record speaks for itself, and it's cool. It's just dope from a scoring perspective and from a shooting perspective, just to even see a hooper that's doing what she's doing." Now, another Hall of Fame point guard who had something to say on this matter is Pistons legend Isaiah Thomas. All the way back in February, just as the hype for the All-Star three-point competition between Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu was building up, IT was asked who he thought would win between the two, and this is what he had to say. "I'm gonna go with Steph, but I'm gonna say this. Neither one of them are the greatest shooters. Right now, it's Caitlin Clark." This is a certified legend of the game saying that at the moment in time, Caitlin was a better shooter than the greatest shooter the NBA had ever seen. The guy even doubles down on his claims and adds, "Bring Caitlin in and let her shoot against both of them. Because 22 in Iowa, she's the real deal." That's who should be in this competition. Now, Isaiah Thomas wasn't the only Hall of Fame guard who had a lot of praise for Caitlin, as even Magic Johnson himself couldn't escape from her wave of success. In the Elite Eight games of the 2023 NCAA tournament between Iowa and the Louisville Cardinals, Clark had herself a 40-point triple-double to carry her team to a 97-83 win. This made her the first player in NCAA history to record a stat line like that. And I'm talking about both men and women. Now, obviously, a statistic like this can't go unnoticed, and it's exactly what got a reaction out of Magic, who tweeted, "What makes Caitlin's 40-point triple-double so special is the fact that so many players never had one. Not me, Michael Jordan, or Larry Bird." Now, he could have easily just said that no one had done that before, but name-dropping MJ and Bird just shows you the respect that these legends of the game have for CC. That same day, he would even add that Caitlin Clark's basketball career has been amazing and is second only to Diana Taurasi's dominant career, where she won 3 national championships at UConn. Now, 1 year later though, I wonder if he would rank her above Diana. I mean, CC didn't really win any championships, but she did carry Iowa to another historic finals run, only falling against a dominant South Carolina team, who finished the season, by the way, with 0 losses. After this last NCAA dance, though, Magic had to give the Iowa star her flowers once again, and he did just that with this now viral tweet. Caitlin Clark's extraordinary play this season has been the catalyst for growing women's basketball, with record-breaking viewership throughout the tournament. She deserves her flowers, and I want to congratulate her on an incredible collegiate career. All right, at this point, the least we can say is that the entire world has their eyes on Caitlin Clark. And another NBA legend who had a lot to say about Caitlin Clark is Shaquille O'Neal. For the Big Diesel, things are pretty clear. Caitlin is the best female college player of all time, even going on live TV to tell the whole world what his opinion is.
I'm gonna go on the record and say she's the best female collegiate player ever.
Now, with TNT trying to avoid controversy, the other hosts of Inside the NBA tried to nuance what Shaq was saying as they quickly moved on from the subject, but a few weeks later, in another interview, Shaq would get the opportunity to develop his idea a little bit more, as he said, quote, "The way she plays, shoots, and puts her team on the map, nobody has done what she's done. Name a woman who's doing what Caitlin Clark is doing. I don't know one." Now, this is what he's building his opinion on, the uniqueness of her play style, and the fact that she's showing the entire world a new facet of female basketball that no one has seen before. Shaq would even go on to add, quote, "I've never seen anybody play like Miss Caitlin Clark. That's why I say she's the best college player ever. It's all subjective, but it's just my opinion." Shaq is known to be quite a harsh critic, especially when it comes to new players popping in on the scene. So when you hear him putting someone so high on a pedestal, you can be sure that Caitlin is the real deal. And speaking of greatness, who's better suited to judge a GOAT than arguably the greatest player in the history of the NBA? LeBron James has always been a very big advocate and supporter of female hoops and never misses an occasion to encourage them and shed light on their competitiveness. Quote, "That's what we all love about it. We love the girls' game because of that moment you actually get to see those girls build to. That's what makes the women's Final Four and Elite Eight so great. Iowa was a great team, but Caitlin Clark is the reason we tuned in."
I mean, Iowa was a great team, but Caitlin Clark is the reason we tuned in.
Fast forward to March, and Caitlin Clark had just broken the NCAA scoring record, a very big moment when it comes to female collegiate basketball. And in the middle of the ocean of people congratulating Caitlin for her success, LeBron was one of the most prominent at giving CC her props. First tweeting, quote, "Congrats at Caitlin Clark 22 on becoming the all-time leading scorer." And then, not missing any chance to praise her more, he took one of the questions that was asked to him as an opportunity to talk more about her. Quote, "A lot of you guys have asked, what does it feel like to be in a zone? Once a guy is in a zone, there's nothing you can do. Once a guy decides he wants to stay in a zone." Or you're seeing Caitlin Clark the other night when she broke the record. There's nothing you can do. Instead of taking a personal question as an occasion to only talk about himself, the greatest scorer in NBA history decides to give the spotlight to Caitlin, and deservingly so. But what separates LeBron from the rest, though, is how he was there for her through ups and downs. And so even after just losing the women's NCAA final, his first instinct was to tweet this: "If you don't rock with Caitlin Clark's game, you're just a flat out hater. Stay far away from them people, please." Now, if there's one guy who knows what it's like to have the pressure of the entire basketball world on your shoulders, it's LeBron. So it's no surprise he was one of the first to stand up for her after she started getting slandered by online trolls. But this is not the only all-time great NBA scorer who had high words of praise for her. Kevin Durant is a guy who considers basketball to be his life, and so he knows everything there is to know about most good prospects around the world. He's actually probably the first NBA star who knew of Caitlin's existence, as he was there when she was playing for an under-17 AAU team, and this is what he had to say.
"She just commanded the whole game. I was like, who the hell is this? She is nice." It was like, "Oh, she's the best player in the country." I was like, "Oh, damn, I see it now."
He was the first high-profile NBA player to give such positive approval of Caitlin's game, and she couldn't help but respond to it, saying that it's one of her best memories from AAU basketball. And she even added her own dose of praise towards the Slim Reaper.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's super cool. Katie's always been one of my favorite players growing up, and I think he's one of the best players to ever play the game.
You gotta love the respect the greats have for one another, right? Even the current stars of the league know how special Caitlin is, and most of them are in awe in front of her talent. Luka Doncic, the Slovenian superstar, once got asked if Caitlin's game reminded him of his, and his answer?
That is more Steph Curry, man. It's the one with Steph Curry.
She shoots it better than me, that's for sure. Now, that's a true testament to her talent and the reach of her aura. Another all-star level player who got starstruck by her game is Atlanta's Trae Young. Now, if there's any guy in the league other than Steph who knows how hard this playstyle must be, it's gotta be Trae. After all, there aren't many shifty guards who can drop threes from anywhere on the court. Trae was one of the first to congratulate Clark online after she broke the scoring record with a jaw-dropping logo shot. This led to Young tweeting, quote, "Wow, only fitting you break it this way. Congrats, big time." In one interview, Trey would even go one step further and point out the other great aspects of her game. From her amazing driving ability, she was getting layup after layup, and so at some point, the defender that's guarding her way out on the perimeter is gonna sag off. To her great playmaking.
Scoring and then getting everybody involved, what she's doing is unbelievable.
Trey couldn't help but notice how polished every aspect of Caitlin's game is. From Trae Young to LeBron, Isaiah, Steph, and Magic Johnson, the one thing all these NBA greats agree on is how good Caitlin Clark is. But keep in mind that despite all of the praise that she has received, the 22-year-old phenom is now only making her first steps in the WNBA. Of course, if one thing is for sure, Caitlin Clark has the chance to have an amazing career, one that could make her the best female player to ever touch a basketball. All right, that's it for this one. Let us know what you thought down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.